ज्ञानानन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती इति नामिने। श्रीवार्ष भानवे देवे दायकाय कृपाब्धये कृष्ण संबंध विज्ञान दायिने प्रभवे नमः। माधुर्योज्वल प्रेमाज्ञा श्रीरूपानुग भक्तिदा श्री गौर करुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते। नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपानुग विरुद्धा अपसिद्धांत द्वांत हारिणे। नमो गौर किशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलंबर सांबोधे पादाम्बुजाय ते नमः। नमो भक्ति विनोदाय सच्चिदानंद नामिने गौर शक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपानुगवराय ते। गौरविर्भाव भूमेस्त्वं निर्दिष्टा सज्जन प्रिया वैष्णवा सार्वभौमे श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धो भैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतुषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्त शक्तिकं। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत श्री राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। जयतां सुरतौर्पंगौ मम मंद मतिर्गति मद सर्वस्व पदाम्भोजौ राधा मदन मोहनौ दिव्य वृंदावन अरण्य द्रुमादः श्रीमद रत्नागार सिंहासनस्थौ श्रीमद राधा शील गोविंद देवो वृष्टालिभि सेव्यमानं स्मरामि। श्रीमान् रासरसारंभी वंशीवट तटस्थिता करशनवेणु स्मनर्गोपी गोपीनाथ श्रीयत्सुनः तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरो दीनतारिणम्। All right, yeah, thank you and welcome everyone. So I thought because we are talking about Acharya, so let me recite the complete Mangalacharan. So this is long version of Mangalacharan with all lot of Acharyas being part of it. Yeah, so all right, so I see Nagendra Prabhu also. So yeah, welcome Prabhuji. Uh, so do you understand Hindi or not at all? Because I usually mix Hindi and English. Okay. Yeah. All right. So okay, let me know whenever you're able to mute yourself or something of that sort. Am I audible? I'm audible, it seems like. Okay.
Yes,
Can you
Prabhu.
hear
Hare
me,
Krishna.
Prabhu?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you
Yeah,
for.
Prabhuji, do you understand Yeah, yeah, please welcome. Do you understand Hindi? Can I use Hindi in between or no?
Yes, yes, Prabhu. I can understand a little, but I cannot talk much. Uh,
Okay,
yeah, but my Hindi very limited knowledge.
okay.
I
Yeah, let
uh,
me know wherever you don't follow, because a
sure,
lot of people get trouble in English also. So I sometimes mix Hindi as well. So let me
sure,
know wherever you don't, you're not able to follow it.
sure, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. So today, as we discussed, we'll talk about 2.15. So let us recite the verse. And yeah, Prabhuji, we can talk later, maybe after the class if you want. I don't know much, so yeah, would like to know. All right. So let's recite the verse 2.15. यम ही न व्यथयन्ते ते पुरुषं पुरुषर्षभ समदुःख सुखम धीरम सो अमृतत्वाय कल्पते. Yeah, so anyone wants to recite? Okay, quite. Anyway,
Yes,
see.
Prabhuji.
Yeah, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Uh,
Krishna.
Yam hi na vyathayan te purusham purushashabha samadukha sukham dhiram somartavya kalpate.
Yeah. So Amrit Tatvaya Kalpate. Yeah.
So
Amrit.
amrat so amrat tattva kalpate. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that's
Thank you,
about
Prabhuji.
Amrit. Yeah. Amrit Tattva. Okay. Yeah. Anyone else who wants to recite? Okay.
यं
Yeah. Please, Madhu.
यथन्ते पुरुषं पुरुषर्षभ समदुःखसुखं धीरं सोऽमृतत्वाय कल्पते.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Madhu. All right. So yeah, translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. O best among men, Arjun, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Okay. So looks like a fairly simple enough verse. Yeah. So okay, let's get into revision. I think I told last time also that 2.13, 14, 15 are fairly linked. And this is like Krishna kind of summarizes his version of Bhagavad Gita in these three. बहुत ही simple verses हैं, they are not very complicated, and but lot of things are summarized within this. So what do you think, like, we anyways talked about 2.13 and 2.14, so what do you think is the connection between these two verses, these 13 and 14 verse? What is the connection? You remember, right? I hope you remember the verse 2.13 and 14. Anyone? So, okay, just to refresh your memory, 2.13 talks about that the soul is something which is constant and the body is changing continuously, right? Uh, I hope that rings a bell, right?
So, Prabhuji, trying to put up thoughts from my side. So, overall, what he's trying to say is this is a non-permanent world, and since we are here, we have to face the ups and downs, the positives and the negatives. So, one should remain calm and try to pursue his duties, whatever is allotted to them.
Yeah, so that is around 14th, right? Somewhat like that. Like the 14th verse says something like this.
Yes.
But yeah,
So Prabhuji, in 13, uh, you know that we discussed that as body is probably, body is changing from youth to old, and that we are constantly changing our body. uh,
Hmm.
uh, that we should not bewildered with those changes, and then we should look at from the soul point of view, because it's a normal phenomena. And then people look at that, that if soul change the body, we get sad, and then so that happiness and sad is something we discuss about more on that, why to be uh,
Hmm.
why to be sad when a soul is just changing the house from one house which is not a good house, and then going to the new houses. And then
Yeah.
we in 14 we talk about like she to, I mean that some weather, that as weather change, like summer to winter and all, we should not bewildered, and then we should not much uh, worry on those things. This is the something like, as other, as weather change. I think
Hmm.
last time you were Shitoshna Sukhadu, you were talking about a lot, that is the same thing like a happiness and sadness, and
Yeah.
we should constantly focus on our main goal, and then not attach with these ups and downs, and then kind of, yeah, I'm just trying to relate, Roger.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, there are many ways to relate because these two, three verses are very, very related. Like the first, if you think deeply, then the first verse in this series, called 13, 2.13, talks about that do not identify yourself with body because the body keeps on changing and you are a soul, right? Which is the same, it is unchangeable. And the body, because it is changing, so you may think like, okay, I am old now or I am young now, and then the similarly the body, sometimes you leave and you go to the next body. So do not identify with your body too much. Okay, it is just the body, nothing serious about it. At a later point of time, Krishna will even relate it to like a cloth, right? That body is non-different, is as useless as a cloth. I mean, after some time when it is dirty, you just change it, right? Later verses he'll talk like that. So he'll not give lot of regard to the body because body is just something which always keeps on changing. There is not much endurance to the body. Like this is the word which Prabhupada will use sometime. So so we should not identify with the body, and we should not feel bad if we get from young to old, or we should not feel when we change a body or someone changes the body, right? So that is what he talks about. Now in the second verse of the series, like 2.14, he talks about that, okay, do not identify with your mind, or which means do not even identify with your subtle body, right? So your subtle body is mind, intelligence, and ego. Do not even identify with them, because the mind keeps on feeling, sometimes it feels that, oh, this is good, and the same thing it will feel that, oh, it's bad, right? When the winters start, you may feel that, oh, it's very good, right? Because so far it was summer, so I am really enjoying it. After some time, you may start feeling bad about the same winter. So the point is, do not feel good or bad about even what the mind says. You so essentially what is said is, do not identify with the gross body and do not identify with the subtle body. Now if you don't identify with both of them, then what remains is soul, right? So be at the level of soul, do not get into any of this. That's the connection between these two. There is other way to connect these two verses, okay, which is very interesting. So 2.13, what he says is, don't lament, right? If the body changes, then do not lament, right? Dukhi nahi hona hai if the body changes. Abhi, if the body is changing and you do not lament, then what does it mean? That you tolerate, correct? um, and in the 2.14, what he is saying is that you tolerate clearly. And when he's saying you tolerate, it actually means that, oh, do not lament, right? So essentially, he's saying the same thing. In the first verse, he says, oh, don't lament. And in the second one, it says that tolerate. So almost the same thing is being said in both the verses, right? The last time we even talked about some examples of tolerance, right? Any example that you remember anyone wants to give an example of a tolerance, what should we tolerate, or how people who tolerate it actually in their life? It could be scriptural, or it could even be any material examples around you. And what are the benefits of tolerance, and who all did it, and what did they achieve because of that? Any thoughts on that?
Prabhuji, Prahlad Maharaj is one of the examples that he tolerated the external atrocities.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Of course, and there's so many examples. Parikshit Maharaj, Ambarish
Dhruv
Maharaj,
Maharaj.
like
Yes. Dhruv Maharaj himself.
yeah. So without tolerance, in fact, nothing is possible even materially. Okay, even to get good marks in the exam, you have to get up early in the morning, and whether you are feeling like it or not, study, right? So you have to tolerate your urges of playing, watching TV, or doing whatever. So tolerance is anyways essential, no matter what, right? So, but the important thing to understand is that if you're tolerating, thinking that, oh, I am this body and I want to do it for good of this body, then Krishna, that's why in 2.13 first clarifies that you are not this body. Okay, so if you have to tolerate for the soul, tolerate for your higher purpose, not for the mundane thing. You can still do that. There is a benefit of doing that also, and we'll talk about it. So now let's come to this verse. So Krishna says Amrit Tattvaya Kalpate, right? So we try to understand what is this Amrit Tattva also, and other things also. So what does Mrit means? Mrit. What does that mean?
Mara hua, who is dead already.
Dead. Correct.
Yeah.
So what does Amrit means?
Who doesn't die or
Yeah.
Amrit.
Correct. It's a opposite of Mrit, right? Amrit. So it means deathlessness, right? जो जिसकी death नहीं होगी, type of thing. So he's talking about Amrit Tattva, right? So basically Arjun ka problem, what is the problem of Arjun, right? Arjun's problem is, shall I fight or shall I not fight? That is what he was talking about in chapter 1. Okay, but here Krishna says that, oh, I don't even want to get into that discussion. Don't want to do that discussion. He's not doing a discussion at all about fight, not fight, right? He's getting into something else, and he's talking about the real battle of the life. Okay, and the real battle for which people say no to. Okay, and the real battle is to go to the world of deathlessness. That is our real battle, that we all have to fight, whether in this life, some other life, whatever, whenever, whether we keep on avoiding it, but this battle has to be fought. We cannot keep saying no to it, but we are saying no to it. Okay, that we don't want to get into that deathlessness. Okay, so that is what Krishna talks about in this particular verse, that how to get into that stage of deathlessness. In fact, there is a verse, right? Maybe we all have heard it in our childhood. Asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amritam gamaya. So this amrit, the same amritam gamaya, right? So this same amritam is being talked about in this verse. It is the same amritam. Okay. So Krishna, basically what he's saying is ki the battle will get over, right? Whether you fight the battle or you don't fight the battle, battle का जो होना है वो तो होगा. Battle anyways over हो जाएगी, right? But your ultimate goal is to get into this Amrit Tattva. This is where you have to reach. Okay. So how do you reach there? Basically, when you're fixed about achieving that liberation, you have to be very, very fixed about achieving it. It is not easy. Okay. So what Krishna says in this verse is samasukha dukham dhiram. Right? Ki, basically, and we heard it in last two verses also, ki there is so much that the gross and subtle body go through. Right? Gross body keeps changing, so that's why you feel lot of pain and pleasures, and the subtle body also keeps changing or behaving in a different way. Mind kabhi kuch sochta hai, kabhi kuch sochta hai. So it keeps on changing, right? Your subtle body also keeps changing. So because of which soul gets into the state of happiness or sadness. Variety of things happen with the soul because of this. Because these material things are not constant, they keep on changing. So the solution is to tolerate. Okay, and you have to experience these things and tolerate. That is what can be done. There's nothing else can be done in this situation. But even after experiencing it and tolerating it, you have to keep performing your duty. Okay, and only the person who keeps on doing it like this can achieve this Amrit Tattva. This is what this verse says. So if there is a person जो कभी ज्यादा दुखी हो गया, कभी ज्यादा खुश हो गया, when you are दुखी हो गया तो you are crying, right? You are crying about your miseries, and that person will not be able to make progress because he'll get stuck in there, right? So talking about the verse itself, Krishna says, "Yam hi na vyathyanete." So vyatha, right? Vyatha yanti ete. So vyatha means disturbed, right? Vyatha ho rahi hai kafi. So vyatha means you are disturbed. So vyathante te means like, that, oh, who does not get disturbed. And purusha rishabh, purusha rishabh, purush rishabh. Rishabh means best, and so the person is best among men. So the person who is not disturbed is the best among men. Okay, who's equipoised in both pleasure and pain, and that person is fit for liberation, right? So basically, in this verse you can clearly see that Bhagavad Gita is not about fighting the battle. Krishna is trying to take Arjun to something else itself, right? And what is the Krishna's will? Krishna's will is simple, right? I mean, he says that itself in Bhagavad Gita, and in Bhagavatam, variety of places this comes. So the heart of Krishna is very much revealed in Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it says Dharma Sansthapanarthaya. So basically, he is here to establish dharma, right? And if you ask, like, why then Krishna has created this world? The reason Krishna has created this world is to take us out of this world. Okay, so that we never plan or think of returning to this world, and that is what his plan is, and that's what he's doing. That's the uber level goal. So essentially, the body has been given to us so that we can perform our duty. But if we perform our duty without being disturbed, then that is a symptom of a person who is fit for liberation. ठीक है, कि मतलब जो वो अपनी ड्यूटी करता है और कभी भी डिस्टर्ब नहीं होता है, that is that person is fit for liberation. That's what is said here also. So अमृत तत्व जो है, अमृत तत्व तक पहुंचने के लिए सबसे पहले आपको मृत तत्व देखना होता है, राइट? यू हैव टू सी द अमृत तत्व, फेस द अमृत तत्व बिफोर यू कैन इवन गेट टू अमृत तत्व. So to achieve liberation you have to face death, right? But किसका डेथ होगा? The death will happen of the body, right? So then at that time when the death is happening, do not cry. Okay, we should not cry at that time when the death is about to happen. Now how will you prepare for such a situation that, oh, you are dying, or you see somebody dying and you do not cry? Correct. And this is a question which has been asked multiple times. Ki, no, it's theory is theory, but it's not very easy to live it practically, right? How can you not cry when things are happening to you or to someone else, right? So when you are facing other difficulties in life, right? जो हमारे आसपास अभी भी बहुत कुछ हो रहा है, when you are not crying, then, right? जब छोटा मोटा दुख आता है, then if you are not crying, then you are preparing yourself with each step to not to be able to tolerate those bigger difficulties which we think as big. They are not essentially big, but to be able to face that, these simple small steps prepare us for doing that. Okay, so such a person who's actually able to tolerate the regular day-to-day difficulties, he gets prepared for being able to tolerate such bigger things in life. Okay, for example, right now it's winter, right? And it's a winter day, you get up and without bothering about any matra sparsha, कि ठंड है काफी, थोड़ा और सो जाते हैं, गुलाबी गुलाबी सर्दी है, and things like that, right? Without thinking about that, you just know that, oh, your duty is to get up in the morning and chant Hare Krishna. So whatever be the case, right? सर्दी है, गर्मी है, प्लेन में है, कार में है, आसपास बहुत सारे लोग हैं, नहीं भी हैं, कहीं भी हैं, wherever we are, right? I'm supposed to chant 16 rounds, so I'll chant. Does not matter, right? Whatever is going on, whether my mind says do it or not do it, whether my body says do it or not do it, I will do my duty. Okay, so such person becomes fit for Amrit Tattva. So it is as simple as that. Okay, and because no matter what happened, that person never left his duty. Okay, so in fact, Prabhupada gives an example, right, in the previous verse also, about woman has to cook in the summer season, or men have to get up, take bath early in the morning, right? So think about those examples कि मतलब कुछ भी हो रहा है, no, this is our duty, so we have to do it. Okay, and that is like one of the foundation of getting into this Amrit Tattva. Without that, it doesn't make sense. You'll not achieve it. It's not easy. Okay. Any questions so far?
तो ये जो अमृत तत्व की जो हम बात कर रहे हैं, दैट इज अबाउट लिबरेशन.
Yeah.
And for that the important preparation is कि one has to be equipoised, हमेशा उसको संभव रहना है. पर प्रभु जैसे ये तो बड़ा मतलब इन नेचुरल और इन आवर डेली लाइफ मुझे तो बहुत बड़ा अनप्रैक्टिकल सा लगता है, बिकॉज इन स्पाइट ऑफ प्रैक्टिसिंग और नोइंग ऑल दिस फैक्ट, बट कभी ना कहीं चाहे ऑफिस हो, चाहे किसी से बात कर रहे हैं, तो कहीं ना हम हर्ट हो जाते हैं, कम किसी पे गुस्सा हो जाते हैं, और कभी बहुत ज्यादा खुश हो जाते हैं कि भाई अरे वाह मजा आ गया, मुझे जो चाहिए था वो मिल गया, तो कहीं ना कहीं तो हम ब्रीच कर जाते हैं इस वाली सिचुएशन को. तो नाउ आई नो कि मैं ये चीज अचीव नहीं कर पा रहा, एंड आई नो कि मैं अचीव नहीं कर पाऊंगा तो मुझे लिबरेशन भी नहीं मिल पाएगा, तो अपने मोटिवेशन को कैसे बना के रखूं?
So what do you think equipoised means? Equipoised होने का क्या मतलब है?
मतलब जैसे इक्विपाइज्ड का अभी तक जो मैं समझ पाया कि लाइक यू हैव अ लॉट ऑफ हैप्पीनेस अराउंड, बट यू आर स्टिल नॉट ओवर एंजॉयड. ऐसा नहीं कि आप शो ऑफ करने लगे, बट ठीक है आप बड़े नॉर्मल बिहेवियर में हो. एंड अगेन यू हैव सम सिचुएशन कि सपोज करो कई बार किसी से आर्ग्यूमेंट हो रहा है एंड आप उसके फ्लो में नहीं भय, यू हैव कंट्रोल योर सेल्फ, आपने उस बंदे से कुछ ऐसा गलत नहीं बोला. So it means like you are very balanced and mature in your behavior,
So
according to me.
Do you mean we become a stone? Yeah.
हाँ, ये थोड़ा सा confusion है, ये मुझे समझ में नहीं आता.
Yeah. So actually equipoised, it's a very common misconception कि being equipoised जब भी बोला जाता है तो it means कि आप पत्थर के बन जाओ, right? कुछ भी हो जाए, लोग हंस रहे हैं, enjoy कर रहे हैं, आप enjoy मत करो. People are crying, you don't cry. No, that is not what being equipoised means. Okay, not at all. So if you are crying or if you are enjoying or laughing with people, it does not mean you will not get liberation. So you have to do some extra effort to maintain your motivation. No, that is not what it is all about. Okay, so essentially what it means, you can cry, okay, no problem, but you continue to perform your duty. You don't stop that duty.
Okay.
Otherwise क्या होता है ना, the steady भाव is something like कि अरे you tell me what, like if somebody dies in your house, okay, just on my house or whatever, somebody dies somewhere in somebody's house, okay, and then what do? Do they stop eating?
No.
Right? No, they don't, right? They cry, but they do what is their bodily duty, okay, which is to eat, you know. So so essentially this is understood by people. I mean, like it is, we are crying from outside, but from inside we are still body से, because we identify ourselves with the body, right? So we think कि bodily duty है कि खाना तो खाना ही है, so they will do it. Everybody does that, right? So essentially remaining equipoised means that we have to keep performing our duty no matter what. Okay. Any example you can think of that who performed anything like this, if you understood what I said so far?
Sorry bro, मैं समझ नहीं आया.
So essentially, even if you have to cry, you cry, but you perform your duty. You have to enjoy, you enjoy, but you perform your duty. Okay, whether it's cold or hot, you perform your duty. Any personality, any person you can think of who did that in the past, like any example in scriptures?
हाँ मतलब जैसे सपोज करो कि एक मिनट जस्ट
Kunti Maharani example, Prabhuji.
Kunti Maharani. Okay, so you're saying ki all those things happened with her, but she didn't left Krishna.
Correct. Yeah, she continued into his her.
but Prahlad is also one of example.
But okay, the examples, both of them are more about goes towards bhakti. I'm talking about very clearly you can identify a duty, because at our level maybe we don't have very much clarity about bhakti, but we understand duty, right? As I said, the duty कि आप खाना खाते हो, घर पे किसी की डेथ हो गई तो भी.
Arjun himself.
Okay, what about him?
So even when he had to fight with his own uncles, उनके बाबा थे जो बहुत ही पसंद थे उनको, है ना, बहुत चाहते थे, even then he had to fight with him. और apart from everything else, he was the person who had to finally bring him down the battle. So even after not liking, he had to do it, and he did it, right?
Yeah, but he didn't cry at that time. So in fact, think about the example of like, okay, he heard the entire Gita, okay, and he did all of this, whatever he had to do. Then Abhimanyu was killed, okay, and Arjun was crying, right? And Krishna didn't stop him to cry. He didn't say कि यार अभी भगवत गीता पूरी बता दी है. Now still you are crying. Let me tell you the second version of Bhagavad Gita. He didn't do that. And what Arjuna did, after crying, he gets up again and he gets ready for fight again, right? So that is what it means. Equipoise does not mean ki I will become stone. You can cry, no problem, but get up and do your duty. Okay, that's the example I give you, right? Ki matlab, somebody dies in the house, you still get up and you cook and eat, or whatever you eat somehow, right? So yeah, you can lament or you can do whatever. That's okay. That's fine. Yeah. But
अभी तक मेरा यही कंफ्यूजन था एक्चुअली. मैं हमेशा सोचता था इक्विपोज का मतलब कि बिल्कुल ठहराव होना चाहिए आपके बिहेवियर में, स्पेशली अभी आप बाहर कहीं डील करते हो. जैसे कई बार ऐसा होता है कि मेरे को जैसे जनरली ऐसा कमेंट मिलता है, यार आप एग्रेसिव नहीं थे उस वक्त. जैसे सपोज करो ऑफिस में है, ठीक है, और कुछ ऐसी बात चल रही है, बोले कि नहीं यार आपको उस वक्त बहुत एग्रेसिव होना चाहिए था, हाउ कैन यू नो दे से लाइक दिस. मैं बोला नहीं नहीं नहीं, मैं इसको थोड़ा सा बड़ा कूलली हैंडल करूंगा. तो मैं शायद इसको ओवरऑल गलत समझ रहा था कहीं ना कहीं.
Correct. So when actually, I don't know if you remember, Discover Yourself में this question came last week, right? कि ये सब भक्ति वगैरह में ऐसा लगता है कि हमारा जॉब गड़बड़ हो जाएगा, right? मतलब कुछ तो something around this was asked, and that's what I said at that time also कि no, that is not at all the case. And I've been telling this multiple weeks also कि Arjuna didn't became a sannyasi after hearing Bhagavad Gita.
Right.
He got up and he did his duty. So that is what it is all about. See, Bhagavad Gita has two essential things to remember. And first thing to remember is the first verse of Bhagavad Gita. That we should never forget. That attachment is a source of lamentation or a source of misery. Okay? That is what Dhritarashtra was going through. And that attachment was what was on what Arjuna got caught also. So Arjuna got into this trouble, right? So that is something clearly to keep in mind. And what Krishna keeps telling Arjuna is that do not identify, but do your duty. So no matter what happens, right? And a good example is that like we all will go through or might be going through this. Is it's getting winter, right? And things become more difficult for our sadhana at that time. So we have to remember this, that keep on doing your duty.
तो प्रभु लोग जो संभाव का मतलब है, that संभाव is towards your responsibility in spirituality and your daily responsibilities.
Yeah, it is also related to that. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yes.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
I have a related question, Prabhuji. Yeah. So Prabhuji, even that and just based on few observation, that even that we have a commitment, even that we feel that, no, it is our duty, morning chanting and everything, even that it is a winter, summer, doesn't matter, we have to wake up. Okay, wake up. If we have to chant in the morning, yes, but it's still, that the thoughts, right, which we have from the past days, whatever was happening all of our around, uh, most of the thoughts are struggling with our chanting during in the morning time, when we are trying to focus and when we are trying to meditate. So based on the experience, how to deal with those kind of fighting between thoughts and our chantings?
Yeah. So multiple answers, like, in this verses, in the past verse or in this verse, basically what Krishna is saying is that tolerate. Okay, taror iva sahishnuna, matlab, tolerate like a tolerate like a husband, or tolerate like a tree is the right thing.
First example was good.
Yeah. So you are laughing a lot. So okay. So basically that is the point. Like, the tolerate like a tree. It's like tree is like, no matter what happens, this side or that side, you have to tolerate. Whether, and you can see in the picture of this verse also, right? It is winter or it is summer, the tree is standing, right? No matter what, in the PPT. So whatever happens doesn't matter. अभी आज बैक पेन हो रहा है, आज बहुत थक गए हैं, आज वगैरह वगैरह, you have tons of things that mind will bring around, right? Yesterday so many things happened, okay, I whatever, so many things happens in the job, I understand totally. So but bottom line is that, okay, we have to tolerate and we have to give our 100% to whatever was uh, was my commitment. Whatever is my commitment, I will do 100% to it. Okay, that is one way to understand it. The second way specifically for chanting is that, there are so many other things that we can do to make sure that our chanting is good. Okay, and they all are about, like, whatever any other sadhana is actually to assist our chanting, whether it is hearing, whether it's association, whether it's reading books, whether it's deity worship, all of these things and many more things, all of them are just to assist our sadhana. Okay, so shastras say, स्मर्तव्यम सत्यम कृष्णम विस्मर्तव्यम न जातुचित सर्वे विधि निषेधाय एतायोर एव किंकरः. So basically it says only two rules matter, right? Always remember Krishna, that is first rule, and the second rule is never forget Krishna. Okay. Smartavyam satatam Krishna vismartavyam na jatuchet. Okay, and sarve vidhi nishedaya means like any other practices, anything, oh, I have to do this or I have not to do this. Okay, vidhi and nished, etayor eva kinkara, they are all servants of these two principles. Okay, and the principles are simple. Right, always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. So all of them are to assist our remembrance of Krishna, of our chanting of holy names. But so they are, that is one way to keep our consciousness in a right spot. Okay, our anything, it could be anything, it could be reading, hearing, deity worship, association, whatever, right? But we have to make sure that our consciousness is right so that we can remember Krishna. But but any other thing we have to tolerate. Anything else we have to tolerate, because when it comes to duty, because okay, all of that is fine, but today whatever something bad happened in wherever, so I cannot chant. No, that explanation is not right. We have to tell ourselves that no, that is my duty and I'll do it. Right? Does it make sense?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. So,
तो प्रभु जैसे इसमें ये एक जो कंडीशन है दैट इज फॉर डिवोटी who knows about chanting, and if I want to apply same shloka for a person who is not aware of this chanting commitment, then how he is going to understand this sambhav nature? Because as of and in that case he doesn't know about chanting, but he knows ki there is a shloka in Bhagavad Gita which talks about sambhav property. Then how exactly he is going to implement this in his life?
So bro, actually, okay, um, I'll tell you what, like, it is not that only devotees do this. Okay, even common people, and as I said, ये जो principle है ना, this is universal. And as in, by being equipoised, by tolerating, only you can achieve material benefits also. Okay, there is nothing, there's no magic about it, right? As I said कि आपको अगर एग्जाम में अच्छे मार्क्स चाहिए, then also you tolerate and you remain equipoised. ठीक है? You remember you are like, you know, doing good in a good company. Think about your school days or college days, right? That there must be a lot of other temptations in your life which you actually tolerated and made sure that you study. Sometimes in the house also there are variety of things happening, but you tolerate it. And it's applicable to any person. I mean, any of us. Okay, whoever actually is in a good position, he must have tolerated. There is no other way out. There is no other way out. And interestingly, see, there is a level of karma kanda. So how, just think about it, your world, as I said, right? Why Krishna designed this world? So that we can get out of this world. So he gives variety of things to put us in the right path. So even if you don't believe in God, even if you say कि I do not believe in God, मैं कर्म कांड भी नहीं करूंगा, I will not do कर्म कांड. So fine, you are a material person. Now if you are a material person, you will still be able to make material progress by following the same qualities, by following the same rules. And that way, gradually, life after life, you are still making progress. Even if you say that I don't believe in God, even then you are making progress by following the same rules. The same rules apply. And then once you are ready, once you actually have enough tolerance, you may be able to get just some spark from somewhere, and okay, you get into bhakti. But essentially, the same rules apply. I don't see any deviations here, right? I mean, just think about it. Any example जहाँ पर आप आराम से सोते थे, मतलब, you know, दिन रात, and you got great marks in your engineering exams and you became a great person. It doesn't work like that, right? Even in our job, right, we tolerate so many things. That's how you are able to sustain, correct? So these, but just that we make and if we connect it to spirituality, then we are just sitting on an elevator and going in the right path. And interestingly, by chanting the holy name, by associating with God, we actually get these qualities faster, rather than birth after birth. Gradually we realize कि अरे जब भी tolerate करते हैं तो फायदा होता है, when we don't tolerate we don't get the result. So okay, let's learn to tolerate, let's learn to become equipoised. If you're not equipoised, you cannot make a material progress also. You tell me an example where wherever there is like a friend comes, you start enjoying with them, start playing and all sort of things, and you get good marks. It doesn't work this way, right? This is not how this world is supposed to be. Krishna has designed this world for us so that we can get out. It is like that.
Yes, Prabhu.
Does it make sense? Right. So, in fact, yeah. So, yeah. So, coming back, any other question? All right. So, yeah, 2.14, like the previous verse also talks about the same thing, right? Tolerate. So that's what it is all about. So, what does it mean by eligible for liberation, right? I mean, it said that you become eligible for liberation. So basically, now let's talk about that liberation part of it. So when at the time of death, it is said that you'll feel dukh, mostly like sukh dukh will happen, right? So mostly dukh will happen at the time of death. So if you know that, oh, you are supposed to tolerate, and then only you can liberate. In fact, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj asks this specific question. Okay, he asks this. I mean, you know, in fact, let me just talk about this slide first. It's the same thing. In fact, the same thing. In fact, that this is what 14 and 15 essentially talk about. That happiness will appear and disappear, and so will distress. Right? Both keep coming and they disappear. And it is all sense perception. It is all subtle body. Senses are subtle also. And they are not gross. And if you tolerate, then you are eligible for liberation, right? And this tolerate, as I said, is like the key thing to remember, that, oh, perform your duty and be equipoised. This is one of the very important key from Bhagavad Gita. Okay, variety of things to learn, but yeah, this is a very, very important thing to learn. So in fact, Parikshit Maharaj essentially asks this question, right? What is the general duty for everyone, and what is the specific duty for a dying man? Okay, a person who's dying. This is the question he asks Shukdev Goswami. So in fact, what it means is that we have a duty at the time of death also, right? So that's what I'm talking about, duty again and again. So there is a duty when you are dying also. So what is the what do I supposed to do, right? I mean, am I supposed to party when my last second of death is, or what should I do, right? And any thought, like, what, anybody knows what Shukdev Goswami answers for this? Okay, so this is essentially what he says. Tasmat Bharat Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishwaro Hari Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Smartavyascha Chaishatabhyam. So basically, this essentially simple. I mean, he's saying is that one who desires to be free from all miseries must hear about, glorify, and also remember the personality of God, who's the super soul controller and the savior from all miseries. In fact, this verse can and a different context you can talk about it for hours. I mean, why he says three words, Bhagwan, Ishwar, or Hari, and why variety of things. So lot of things to talk about. But essentially, what he's saying is कि अभय प्राप्ति अगर करनी है, if you want abhay, want to get abhay, so three things have to be done, right? Shrotavya, kirtitavyascha, smartavyascha. So to whom? To Bhagwan, Ishwar, and Hari. Okay. So basically, essentially, we have to be. I mean, at the time of death, if you are not equipoised, you will not be able to do it. If you are actually thinking about joys and sadness and variety of things, like, oh, I'll be able to not be able to enjoy anymore, I'll this person will go away, all sort of things, right? Mere paise, mere ghar, mere friends, my family, all of them will go away, then you will not be able to perform this duty. And this is the duty of a dying man, and all of us are that. Right? All of us are going to die, maybe whenever, right? But uh, the same thing is repeated in Bhagavad Gita also, right? Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. So essentially, that's the same thing he says, I think, in 8th chapter, that this is essentially the duty of a dying man, to actually remember Krishna, no matter what. But what happens, I mean, the current thing, the joke is like, that if a doctor comes and says, you're about to die, and what do you want? What is your last wish? And a person will say, okay, I want second doctor's opinion. That is probably the last thing I can think of, right? So Prabhupada ke samay mein devotees created a cartoon, okay, where the old lady is saying to the dying man, chant, 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 and that old man is saying can't. Okay, so essentially, a person who can say can't, he can also chant, right? But it is not easy to perform that duty when you are in pain. Okay, it is very difficult. It is not easy to remain equipoised at that time when you are about to die. Correct. So, but if we actually continue to perform our duty when the normal life is going on, then yes, you will learn to be equipoised at the time of death also. Okay. So, in fact, the attitude should be कि हाँ ये कर्तव्य है, मतलब कर्तव्य परायण, कर्तव्यवान बनना है. Okay. So if ये मेरा कर्तव्य है, so I will do it no matter what. Right? How do you get this kartavya buddhi? Any thought? How can we get this kind of a kartavya buddhi? Be it material, be it spiritual, in whichever way. What is the way to become kartavyavan? Any recent example you can think of? Any? When I say recent, I mean anything which is going around at this time of the year, which reminds of us of heavy kartavya. Okay, like big time at this time of the year, whatever is happening.
Maybe with the guidance with the seniors, maybe with the parents or teachers or to whom we are making association.
Okay, yeah, they definitely teaches us math, matlab, but I was just talking about a scriptural example, like the one of the best example around us right now is Ramayana. Okay? So if we want to learn how to become a kartavyavan, then Ramayana is the best place to learn it. right? How to what is the duty of a son to a father, right? What is the duty of a brother to another, the older brother, right? What is the duty of a wife? Even what is the duty of the husband, like, how he should protect his wife, uh, all of that, right? I mean, amazing set of people. I mean, everybody is just doing it because ye kartavya hai, isliye kar rahe hain. That is how they are doing it, all of them. Every example you think of, think about Lakshman, think about Bharat, think about Rama himself, Sita ji, and everybody, all of them, amazing examples of how the kartavya is actually followed, right? So in fact, आज अगर हम सोचते हैं इस रामायण के बारे में, आई मीन, यू मे थिंक ओ इट्स अ वंडरफुल स्टोरी, बट ऐसे भी लोग थे क्या? मतलब, हाउ कैन समबडी डू इट लाइक दिस कि दे गो टू फॉरेस्ट जस्ट बिकॉज फादर ने बोला, तो 14 इयर्स के लिए फॉरेस्ट में चले गए, एंड देन हिज ब्रदर आल्सो सेज कि अरे यू आर गिविंग मी किंगडम, बट मैं आई विल नॉट बिकम द किंग, आई विल स्टिल लिव लाइक यू, आई विल ईट लाइक यू, and I will put your sandals on the this thing, right? And I'll and then only I'll do the whatever is my duty as a king. I will follow that still, right? सुनने में बड़ा अजीब लगता है, but in fact the reality is that this is how people are supposed to be. Okay, we are all supposed to be like that. In fact, आज हम लोग पागल हो गए हैं. What we are doing is not the right thing, and this is how it is supposed to be. What Ramayana teaches us, right? What is the duty of a father? What is the duty of a son, of a brother, of a husband, of a wife? All of that is taught in Ramayana. Right? So, so Lord Himself actually demonstrates it, like, that how you are supposed to behave there in Ramayana. So it's a wonderful example. In fact, आज हम लोगों की जो सिचुएशन है ना, छोटी छोटी चीज के लिए कुछ भी छोड़ देते हैं, like, we are like, marriage and divorce have like are almost like equivalent to signing a paper. Okay, they're not that simple, right? I mean, that's not what being kartavyavan means. Having kartavya is something very big. In fact, are we teaching our children how to become kartavyavan? This is what also we should think about. Are we teaching our children how to be duty bound? And that's very, very important. Like Rajiv Prabhu said, yes, is it applicable only to spiritual context? No, it is not. I mean, if you are not a dutiful daughter, if you are not a dutiful mother, if you are not a dutiful employee, right, then how do you think that you will suddenly become a dutiful devotee? It doesn't work this way. Okay, so dutiful has to come from the beginning. Okay, if you are always dutiful, then you can, yes, obviously, logic, I mean, like, it's a natural thing that you become a dutiful devotee. Otherwise you cannot suddenly become dutiful. Okay, you'll see, like, if you, I mean, at least I've seen some old people, sometimes they come into association of devotees and they just quickly pick up everything. Okay, time nahi lagta, like, they just pick it up. They you just give them beads and say, okay, I mean, so there is a temple in Nigri where Nigri is a place near Pune, now almost Pune, and where we used to go. It's a almost village kind of area, and a lot of local people, like local Maharashtrian people, used to come there, where they're like, pretty simple people, right, and fairly old people, and there are a lot of chanting beads around in that hall, temple hall, and just people just give it to them and just say that, oh, you have to chant, and they'll just sit and start chanting. Okay, you don't need to teach them anything. They'll come every day, they'll start chanting, they'll know, okay, we'll pick up a bead, we'll chant, we'll keep the bead and go, right? So they just pick it up like anything. Okay, uh, how does that work, right? They don't deviate, like, in fact, they just even pick up something. I know some elderly people who, okay, they're chanting 64 rounds every day morning. I mean, one of the father of a devotee I know, okay, just quickly picked up. I mean, they started after that person, and they right now chant 64 rounds every day, every morning. Okay, because they have, those parents or those people have tolerated so much in life. Okay, and they know they did everything for the kartavya. I mean, they became so much of duty bound that for them it becomes very easy. Okay, now, in fact, think about those people, right? I mean, the salary that we may be getting, maybe your father or somebody's father may not have done that much saving in his entire life, right? So they went through a lot of hardships, they tolerated a lot, and they understood the value of being dutiful. Yes, I have to, this is my duty to actually raise my son and my daughter and get them married and variety of things. They used to follow it like that. So for them, getting into this becomes fairly easy. uh, in fact, look at the small kids in the plane sometimes, right? I mean, they just, or anybody, like, in our age, when what we see is like, that they um, they've got so much in the life that if they don't get it when they grow up, that will be very difficult for them. It will be very difficult to tolerate for them, right? uh, in fact, if you think, right, okay, it's my kartavya, I mean, from the kartavya point of view, in a plane you have to go, suppose you have to go to Delhi, and that is okay, your kartavya. But how do you go? That is not okay. Those are just details. Okay, will I take selfie, will I eat something? All those things are details. You're supposed to go somewhere, but generally right now people think about those details. Oh, how did I go? Did I took selfie or not? Did I eat in that restaurant? And variety of things. But forget about the main duty. Is okay, fine, that's just a we think that that is a detail, that okay, we have to go, but we have to go by flight. But we have to make sure that we actually give that quality, that give this value of being kartavya. And we also uh, understand, right, that what is my duty as an employee, what is my duty as a father, as a mother, as a son, as a daughter, and things like that, and follow that also. And these are all our something we talked at one point, these are called horizontal duties. Okay, these are our horizontal duties, and then there are vertical duties towards the god. So of course we cannot perform our vertical duties only, right? And we don't perform our horizontal duties at all. That is not possible. That is not possible for anyone. Like even for a brahmachari, they do have their horizontal duties and they do perform it. So but yes, of course, I mean, like, we cannot forget our vertical duty while performing our horizontal duty. So both of them are equally important, right? But generally what people do is, अरे सबको देखा आसपास, ओ ये 16 माला कर रहे हैं, वो भी 16 माला कर रहे हैं, चलो मैं भी 16 माला करता हूँ. Right? They'll pick up, okay, ठीक है, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, they'll do it happily, and then suddenly something changes in the life, और फिर वो 16 से 15, 14 कल कर लूंगा, और रात को कर लूंगा, and things like that, right? All sort of things happen. या कैसे कैसे कर लूंगा, and those things happen, right? But these kind of duties, when you pick up, right, okay, I have to chant 16 rounds no matter what, early in the morning, all sort of things, then your insincerity or sincerity comes out. How really what you are made up of, that really comes out over a period of time, and you yourself know it. Nobody is going to watch you, but you yourself know that, okay, I am actually not sincere in my life, and that is reflecting in my devotion as well, right? So, and people outside will say, अरे ये 16 माला करते हैं फिर भी ऐसे हैं, मतलब, he is still like that, he is not uh, transformed, right? So everybody is doing, like, but for a dutiful person, you'll be able to see the difference. Okay, any questions so far? I think I just have 10 minutes. Yeah.
नहीं प्रभु, ठीक है, this is fine.
Okay, so in fact,
Prabhuji, I think, sorry, interrupting in between.
yeah, right.
Even with the chanting, as you just now were mentioning, I mean, the effect probably I'm personally not able to see, Prabhuji, with the regular stuff, or maybe with surroundings. So, I mean, is that there is something still missing out there, or?
Yeah. So actually, I'll tell you what, Roji. So specifically about chanting, yes, I mean, you will. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says कि you chant one time Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and I will take you back. One time, that's all, nothing else. I will take you back. Okay, so just think about it, right? We have been chanting for so long, for so many times, but why we are not liberated yet? Okay, so what is missing is the offenses. Okay, they are the ones that are trouble for us. So just to put it in plain English, Hindi language, is as I said, right, ki matlab how much of focus do we have? Do we really have faith in the holy name? Do we actually think what you are saying, right? I mean, there are so many of the offenses that we do. We do not, after hearing so much of glories, we do not get that faith. uh, Chanting itself is a very magical process. I mean, like, do not think of it as like, okay, some karma kand which is prescribed कि इतने बार करना है. It's like a medicine. Yeah, not like that. It's not a karma kand. It is uh, about remembering Krishna. It's about associating with God. Okay? And that itself, whether you are sincere or whether you are not, it will purify you. Even if you are not sincere, the purification will happen, but it will take more time. So it takes time because we are not sincere at times. If we are, then the progress is way fast. So it is just a matter of that, but the progress will happen for everyone. That is guaranteed. There is no doubt about it. Okay. Yeah, acharyas tell us that, when you're doing a pure chanting, then basically in your tongue, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu are dancing in your tongue. Okay. Uh, so acharyas tell us that holy name is so sublime, so amazing that actually you think that it is a path, but later you realize that that is the goal. Okay. These are very big statements. I'll have to explain also if I have to talk about them. But basically, bottom line is the purification will happen. It will take time, but it will happen for sure. Have faith. Okay. That's what Shabd Praman is all about also, right? Even if it does not sounds real at that time, we have to have faith. And over a period of time, you also see that practically. So that practical realization will happen. I can promise you. I mean, it is not, I'm not making it up without understanding what I'm saying, but it does happen. Then the time comes when actually you will not feel like leaving chanting. Okay. You'll actually realize that, okay, doing it is actually make some difference in my day. You'll also realize that, okay, it's very sweet, and it actually changes you also as a person. After some time, people will who meet you, they will say that, oh, you have changed, or you are more whatever, all those good qualities. You are more tolerant, for example. So lot of things. I mean, just putting it in a very crude way, but yeah, I know. Have to have faith. That's the first step. That have faith that this does work, and then how serious we are. I mean, how much do we actually think? I mean, if we understand these words that, okay, it is actually God that we are associating with, then we will actually give the best from our life to that. Okay, we'll actually get up and think about it as the first thing, as the best time of the day, when I can focus most, when everybody is asleep. Let me peacefully chant. Okay, give something most important to you for that, right? And uh, yeah, and it'll work.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for that.
But being dutiful also means, like, whether it works or it doesn't work, it is a duty. It is something which has been told to me, it has been prescribed to me, and I will do it, whether it works or whether it doesn't work, no matter what happens. See, Abhi, last week Narottam Das Thakur's disappearance day was there, right? So Narottam Das Thakur's guru said that I will not give you initiation. Narottam Das Thakur was very much determined. So what he did, where his guru used to go to pass stool in the morning, he used to go and clean that place every night. Okay, and he was a prince. He was a son of a king, and he used to do this. He kept on doing this for 1 year. Okay, just imagine after 6 months what he would have thought. Yeah, Ray, it's not working. I'm cleaning this place every day. He comes, he passes stool, I clean it up again in the night. I do this every day, right? And 6 months have passed and nothing is working. Okay, and 6 more months passed before his guru discovered that, oh, it's Narottam Das Thakur who's doing this. Okay, and he got you know he said, fine, I'll give you initiation. And so basically, yeah, it may take time, but we have to have faith and be dutiful. Yes, I will do it no matter what. Whatever is happening, it doesn't matter. Right? Okay. Yeah. In fact, I got reminded of one. Okay, I don't have much time, but okay, let me quickly move. And so, um, so yeah, one brahmachari, I mean, once was telling me, कि Mumbai में there's a brahmachari, okay, and he's a MBBS, he's a MD in Mumbai, and but he never worked for a day, okay, not even a single day he worked. He never saw his father. That person never saw his father, okay, and he has a mother and 3 sisters, and all 3 sisters were married by the mother, and mother did all sort of menial jobs, right? जो भी छोटा मोटा काम करके she raised the kids. And when son goes to the mother and says, oh, I want to become a brahmachari, the mother says, yes, go ahead. Okay, but make sure that you you do it nicely, you do not deviate from this. And mother personally left him in the ashram, in the brahmachari ashram. Okay. Oh, you whenever I think about this example, right, I think that, oh, come on, how can someone do this, right? What kind of things are they made up of? I mean, just imagine that lady. Okay, not talking about brahmachari, but I'm talking about that mother. Think about that mother, right? What kind of heart she must be having. So that is about being dutiful, about being realizing that, okay, this is my duty, and just doing it, whether it's it is pleasure, it is or it causes pain, doesn't matter, right? Whether whatever benefit or not, doesn't matter, right? So, and by the way, about this verse, Krishna talks about liberation uh, for the first time in this verse, right? इसके पहले अभी तक liberation word didn't came. This is the first time when he's doing. And Prabhupada says that a person who's not disturbed by happiness and distress and is studying both, right, is eligible for liberation. So example he gives some example, right? How can you actually what are the proper examples? So he gives some examples. He says that, okay, before death, like if before a person is dead, a person declares himself as civil civilly dead, okay. So in fact, that means, like, he takes a sannyas, right? And that he talks about that, okay, if you take a sannyas, then basically he also talks about it in the purport that, yeah, the difficulty arises, and the difficulty arises because of your relationship, okay, because it's not very easy to leave that relationship and take sannyas. So because this is something that you expanded, right? You got married, okay, so you got another person, and then you had children, so you got more people. This is almost like your srishti that you did. Now you have to leave that srishti and take sannyas. Not very easy thing to do, but people do it because they think that is the duty, okay, and then they become fit for liberation. That is the reason why a sannyasi is so fit for liberation. So, and Srila Prabhupada gives the example of Lord Chaitanya in that, right? And this is the second time he gives this example of Lord Chaitanya in this second chapter, in fact. So if you think about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so he is generally thought of as a very soft-hearted. I mean, if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita someday, you'll realize that, oh, he is very soft-hearted. He's amazingly soft-hearted. Okay, kitna kumal hriday hai, aisa lagta hai. But only 2 instances where he actually showed that, he actually is not when it comes to his duty. And this is the time when he shows it the first time, when he is about to take sannyas. His mother Sachi Devi is crying, and he's crying so hard कि आंसू भी सूख गए, अभी रोना भी नहीं आ रहा, ठीक है. His young wife is there sleeping, ठीक है. He gets up and he goes out, and mother is sitting, she doesn't say anything. He goes out for taking sannyas. In fact, everybody is crying, everybody in the village is crying. The person जहां पर वो जाते हैं कि मेरे बाल वो कर दो, okay, he had such a beautiful hair, that person says, please don't ask me to do this, I cannot do this for you, okay. But he still goes and takes sannyas. And then a lot of pretty big story. Nityanand Prabhu tricks him. He gets him back somehow. First, he tricks him saying that this is like Vrindavan, because there's a river, so this is Yamuna, and ahead of that is Vrindavan. Somehow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes there. He's in a different bhav, so he comes there, and then he reaches there and in Shantipur, and everybody says कि अच्छा ठीक है, he's now here, so everybody thinks कि ठीक है चलो he'll stay with us. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stays there for 10 days, and his mother cooks for him, and everybody is very happy that okay चलो संन्यास ले लिया कोई बात नहीं, but he'll stay with us. But on the 10th day he gets up and he says कि ठीक है I'm going, and he doesn't looks back, he just goes like that. Okay, so that is the other instance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu where he demonstrated this was when he goes to South India, South Indian yatra to South India. At that time, Gadadhar Pandit says that take me with you. He says no, I will go alone. I will not take you with me. In fact, Gadadhar Pandit had taken something called as Kshetra Sannyas. So Kshetra Sannyas means that he is deity. Wherever he is deity, he will not leave that area. Okay. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, see, you have taken Kshetra Sannyas, but Gadadhar Pandit says, see, wherever you are, that is the deity for me, and it's okay. I will be with you. But and they go till the river. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu boards the boat, and he tells Gadadhar Pandit, see, you cannot do this. Okay, it does not make sense. And no matter what Gadadhar Pandit is crying, he even falls down, like as a log of wood, he falls down. बेहोश हो जाते हैं Gadadhar Pandit, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just goes away. Because that's what he decided, that is his duty. He has to go and preach in South India. He doesn't care. So that is what Prabhupada talks about in the purport. If you read the purport, you'll realize that he doesn't talk about these stories, but he's trying to point us towards that kind of duties that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself performed. Okay, so okay, I am late. 3 minutes into the presentation of Varun Prabhu. Any questions? Okay. All right. Yeah, I wanted to talk about one more point, but maybe we can do it after Varun Prabhu's presentation. And this was generally about hearing, okay, because that is very, very important. But let's do it after Varun Prabhu's presentation. So Varun Prabhu, the stage over to you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay.
I'm trying to share. Let me know if you are able to see it. Is it visible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, it is visible.
And we are able to see Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, right?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Prabhuji, for allowing me and giving us this opportunity to go through the amazing gurus and their wonderful pastimes. And especially in this month of Kartik, having such an opportunity is really amazing. Thank you, Prabhuji, for that. Yeah, so I'll be talking a little bit about Srila Jagannath Das Babaji, and will try to put up my understanding of what I have been going through. So please let me know, and if anything goes wrong, or if I'm contradicting the points. So to start with, this is his pranam mantra. Let me recite. It is Om Gaura Virbhava Bhumesh.
Should I help you, Prabhu, on this one?
Yeah, Prabhuji, please, if you can.
Gauravirbhava bhumestvam nirdishta sajjana priya Vaishnava Sarvabhaume Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha.
Yeah. So, yeah, and the meaning is, I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, who is respected by the entire Vaishnava community and who discovered the place where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. So, this is his pranam mantra. If we see the disciplic succession we have been discussing, he lies here in the 28th point as highlighted, and in the lineage of Baldev Vidya Bhushan. So, and actually we were discussing with Niren Prabhuji. So, the lineage and his gurus, even they are very amazing personalities. Even Jagannath Das Babaji, and only when I read about him, and then I came to realize like how much they have realized, and to what level these people were. It is not at all a normal human being. Nobody in a normal stature can do it. So with the kind of uh, level where they were in, and we'll come to know through some of the stories which I have tried to put up, and some of the stories were too amazing. So couldn't put it up here. So just to start with, Sri Jagannath Das Babaji was born near Maya Manasamya district in West Bengal, and he was initiated by Madhusudan Das Babaji, who lived near Suryakund. He gave initiation to Jagannath Das Babaji. So, and Jagannath Das Babaji, it is said he was very austere. I mean, he at times when he used to fast, he used to fast for continuous stretch of 3 days without even taking water. So, with that an example, we can understand to what level he was. And with the practice of chanting and his devotion, he used to chant entire night at times, and then only in the morning he used to finish his uh, chanting and uh, uh, take ablution. So that was one thing. Jagannath Das Babaji was said to have great enthusiasm with either kirtan or Vaishnav Seva, and even at an age of 135 years, he is said to be doing the service of preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya throughout the world for the benefit of all masses. So that is something. And coming to deity worship, there are two beautiful stories about him, and there are some more we'll come across. So one of the deity was like, okay, one time Jagannath Das Babaji asked Bihari Das. So Bihari Das was like his person who's serving him, so like a servant. So he was there, he taking care of him day in and day out. He being very old, he would not have been able to perform his material duties at times if he had to walk or move around places. So Bihari Das used to help him on that. So one day what happened is Jagannath Babaji asked Bihari Das ke, I want to have some deities, please go and fetch some deities for me. So at that time, Bihari Das went to the weaver caste zamindar who was there in that area. What this zamindar did, thankfully, he got some deities created out of a place which is called Dayanhata. And once the deities were there, they were so beautiful that to look at them, it seemed like they were made of gold. They were built so nicely and beautifully. And we can understand at the initiation, when these deities were getting installed in the installation ceremony, they had spent something like 3,000 rupees. Now 3,000 rupees at that point of time would have been enormous. So itna badhiya function hua. They did such a nice celebration of that. One time what happened was local dacoits, they figured out that these deities are really amazing, and they believed they were made of gold. So what they thought was, we'll steal them and then we'll sell them somewhere. So they made up a plan, and they came came overnight to Jagannath Das Babaji. उनको जाके पूछा. So Jagannath Das Babaji said, "See, I don't have anything. Maybe you can find them in the temple booty. So maybe you just go inside and find, and you can take them. No offenses." So these dacoits broke into the temple, went inside, stole whatever, picked up whatever was available from the temple booty. They also took out the deities, and while they were moving out, it seemed that the morning sun had started to, there was light around, morning light. So just in the mess of running, they stepped on to the temple steps, and the deity fell down. So they ran away with everything else, but the deity, they couldn't carry away the deity. So thankfully the deities were still left there. So after this incident, Jagannath Babaji was little concerned, and then he said it is better that somebody in a much safer location we can put them up. So they were handed over to Mother Goswamini, who lives in Gayaspur, Malda, close to Malda, and they also handed over to them like 2,000 rupees so that proper care can be taken. And they are now worshipped as Sonar Gaura. So they are still there. Okay, and then there is a second incident where after some time, now Biharidas Babaji again, Jagannath Babaji asked Biharidas, "I want another deity, so go and find some deities for me." Now, looking at the condition of Biharidas, that's another wonderful way of perceiving how dedicated he was towards his guru, making his best effort to serve him in the way he wants, especially at the age of more than 100 years, trying to make all his commands, fulfill his commands, make his regular day-to-day activities. He's really amazing. So, so once Jagannath Das Babaji is asking for another deity. Now Bihari Das, he tries to figure out, and where he happens to get a deity of Dinu Babaji. Now he's another devotee from Manipur. He's another Vaishnava who is residing in Mathura. Now somehow, the story is not pretty known, but somehow the deities were kept inside the cattle feed. Cattle feed का जो sack होता है उसमें. So he got to know, and then he brought the deities to Jagannath Das Babaji, and then he cleaned it up, decorated, and Jagannath Das Babaji continued worshipping the deity for some like 10 years. And after 10 years, he made up his mind to go to Mayapur. And then he asked Bihari Das, Bihari, please arrange for these deities so that somebody in Vrindavan Mathura can take care of them. So it was again Mother Goswamini, जिनके पास ये लोग गए, उनसे donation मांगा. So she gave a donation of 25 rupees. And this, along with 25 rupees, along with the deity, was handed over to Narottam Das ji and Gopal Guru Math. And the present day, he is there in Nidhoban. So this was one another story. And when talking about compassion, so the story that Jagannath Das Babaji, I think we heard some time back, Niren Prabhu talking about it. So just trying to recode. So what happened was, he was very old at that time. So the condition of his body was that he wouldn't even be able to open his eyelids. So just to help him offer the Tulsi Manjari to the deities, two of his devotees had to, basically the devotees, his his disciples had to open his eyelids through their hands so that he can offer the manjari to the deity. So that was his condition in such an old age where even the eyelids were not working. So he was still doing the deity worship. He was still doing his daily duties. So we can understand like how strictly he used to follow. So people used to come to him to offer donations for the service of Sri Krishna. So he used to Bihari Das used to take care of keeping the money with him. And once Jagannath Das Babaji asked him like, okay, Bihari, tell me how much money we have. So Bihari, just to make sure that he is able to maintain his regular day-to-day activity, and probably he had some fun in his mind, he kept aside 12 rupees and gave everything to Jagannath Das Babaji, saying, okay, see, this is how much we have. But still Jagannath Das Babaji was able to recall that no, this is not right. Bihari, why are you hiding 12 rupees? Give that also to me, and we have to get some rasgullas for the cows which are here in Navadip Dham. So that was his level of service attitude towards the animals of the Dham. There is one more I can say this is very different an incident when Jagannath Das Babaji used to have his prasadam sitting. There were some young puppies. A dog had given birth to some puppies, and there were some young puppies. So they happened to come around the place, and they had started eating in the same plate as Jagannath Babaji was served. So Bihari Das, seeing that, he was like, oh my God, what is happening? And then he shooed them away. So after that, Jagannath Das Babaji said, see, you cannot do that to the animals of Dham. This is not right. And if you do that, please don't give me prasadam either. So I'll have prasadam only once we have it together along with the puppy. So that was really, really a different level altogether, I can say. Respect towards Dham, this is another big incident which happened, and to us for as a learning, I can say. So once he begged for a roti flatbread from a street cleaner, sweeper, basically. So ये देख के क्या हुआ कि वहाँ पे जो the big people who were there, they raised a concern कि बाबा जी आप ऐसे करोगे तो कैसे चलेगा यार? I mean, how can you do go and beg from a sweeper? This is not at all okay. And if you do like this, what will happen to the parampara which we are following? And then he said, see, you all guys are so learned. You know what value and what is the importance of the dust of Vrindavan is, right? And I asked to nobody else, but who's serving the dust day in and day out, who's into it, who's breathing in and rolling in. Even Brahma wants to become the Raj of Vraj, right? So tell me, asking a bread from a sweeper, is it not a pure activity than asking than anyone? So that's what he said. Like, is there anyone more purer than he is right now? So, and silence filled the air. So because everybody accepted, yes, there can be nobody purer than sweeper even of the Dham. So hearing from authorized person, this is another big point, I think. So Babaji, he was very strict in that sense, and that we'll come to know in the later slides, where when we share the learnings or what he teaches to his disciples. So in one of the quotes, what he's saying is, to the people who are doing a professional reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is like a prostitution. So, and those who make money, they are going to hell, and they are doing big time offense towards the name of the Lord. And the only remedy for them is to worship the residents of Vrindavan with great care and attention, considering himself as the most fallen, and thus pray for forgiveness. This is the only thing that can save them. Otherwise, reading Bhagavatam or any other scriptures as a profession is not at all justified. And Jagannath Das Babaji also played a big emphasis on doing service. So that was one another point. Interaction with Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, that is very amazing actually. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur was his disciple, and he considered Jagannath Das, his Siksha Guru was actually Jagannath Das Babaji. So his interaction, I think we just find two incidences. I'm not sure if I know is this the complete thing, or maybe there can be more. So one time when they met, the first time when they met, Babaji was really amazed by Bhakti Vinod Thakur's enthusiasm for preaching the holy name of Krishna. And that is when Babaji Maharaj told him, like instructed him on how and what to do and how to basically follow it. And then it was the second time that they were meeting close to a place called Alamjor, or they met there. They had a wonderful kirtan, and Babaji so Bhakti Vinod Thakur said that during his time, jab Jagannath Das Babaji was there, he was the most advanced Rasik Vaishnav in the Gaur and Vraj Mandal and Purushottam Kshetra. So he was fond of chant. So that is the quotation. That is how Bhakti Vinod Thakur talked about Jagannath Das Babaji. And towards the incidents of finding, I think this is one of the we can say the biggest achievement in our belief, that figuring out the place where actually Mahaprabhu was born. So Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur did extensive research with history on finding through the local maps and talking to the local people, and then he figured out a place where it was a big mold, and there were so many tulsi trees growing over there, and this was his intuition. But just to confirm on the intuition, he actually called for Jagannath Das Babaji, because he was the only he was his Siksha Guru, of course, and he was one of the big time people in the community. And when Jagannath Das Babaji came to that place, he was some around 140 years old at that time. So, and he was being carried in a small basket, or Bihari Das used to carry him over his head. So Bihari Das brought Jagannath Das Babaji to this location, and just by reaching to this location, Jagannath Das Babaji was thrilled with ecstasy, and he started dancing over there. So just by this way, he confirmed that yes, this is the place of the birth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And similarly, this is another wonderful incident. I mean, just to hear this, it is really difficult to understand कि ऐसे भी हो सकता है क्या. So it was like Bhakti Vinod Thakur once wrote a letter from Bengal to Vrindavan to Jagannath Das Babaji, saying कि when the Qazi had broken the mridanga of Nalila of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the parts of mridanga would have fell on the ground. And if they fell on the ground, can you please help me find it? So hearing that, Jagannath Das Babaji along with Bihari Das, they came to Navadip Dham. वहाँ पे आके, even though Jagannath Das Babaji was not able to see, he directed Bihari Das, he take me to this place and so on. They reached to a place there. Jagannath Das Babaji asked Bihari, put me down, and asked Bhakti Vinod Thakur to bring his men with spades for digging, and we'll find it here. And that's where they found. So this is like really different. Amazing.
Yeah, that mridanga is still there actually, right now.
Oh wow. Yeah. In stating the Vaishnava calendar now, this is another wonderful, I would say, a milestone that was achieved when Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he was 12 years old. It was known to Jagannath Das Babaji. It came to his knowledge that he is very good in Jyotish Shastra. So Jagannath Das Babaji asked Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati to come down, and they would start noting down the calendar according to the proper Siddhant, so that they can start recording the incidents and all the people appearance and disappearance, so that all these things for Vaishnava saints can be captured. So this was a wonderful kickstart to the Vaishnava community, I can say. Now, teachings to the disciple, I will just quickly go through it. Jagannath Das Babaji has many disciples, and so 4 points that I was able to find out. First was, he said, you must avoid women, men who are associating with women, and any man who is in any way associating with the man who is associating with the woman. Probably this is more towards the brahmacharis. And Prabhuji, correct me if I'm going wrong.
No, it's applicable to anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, so in general, it is about, I mean, okay, for a Grasta level, it means like, sex outside marriage. Okay, thinking of sex as for recreation, which is for procreation in general. So, yeah, it's again about tolerating the urges. But yes, it's of course valid for at his level when he's saying it. It's for brahmacharis and sannyasis, but for grastas also it's equally applicable.
Sure, Prabhuji. And then second point, which he says very emphasizingly, is to realize the supreme goal of life, you must repeat the Hari Nam regularly and steadfastly. Steadiness is important, that must be maintained even at the cost of one's life. Now, that is a very big statement. And looking at the emphasis which he is giving, I mean, it really shows through his regular day-to-day activity, through his pastimes, and what he used to follow. So that was one big thing, actually.
And this is what we were talking about today, right? This steadiness.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, and then he's talking about Gauranga. Now he's saying, never forget Gaura, who is a most merciful and benevolent than Krishna. Krishna is like a just ruler who takes into account your offenses in his administration of justice. Gaura does not take your offenses into account, whereas Krishna is more interested in disseminating of justice. Gaura is more interested in distributing of mercy. From this point of view, Gaura Kirtan is more useful than Krishna Kirtan. Gaura Kirtan means Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasad Gaur Bhaktivinoda. And the fourth point which I was able to get was, Krishna is an avatar in Dwapar Yuga. Gaura is a Kali Yuga avatar. So we should sing the name of and the glories of the avatar in those in whose age we are living. Thus, as a kingdom, we praise the ruling king. So, Jai Sachinandan, Gaur Hari, Jai Sachinandan, Gaur Hari. So, this was the fourth point. And from the text again, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji used to say that the best time for chanting is from 3 o'clock in the morning till 7, and again night after sunset to 11. He declared that no serious mind devotee should sleep during this time. As Lord Shiva comes to inspect the devotees of his Guru, who's Lord Krishna himself at those times. So he says Lord Shiva keeps a track of who's sleeping and who's not. And yeah, quickly, these are his personal deities. And yeah, his the place, I think, during the last period of his life, he stayed in Navadip Dham, jahan pe Bihari Das, he bought a piece of land from the locals, and it was a big ditch kind of. Now, one of the service, I can say, or in a way, how Bihari Das served was, during daytime he used to serve Jagannath Das Babaji, and during night when Jagannath Das Babaji used to sleep, he used to bring mud from the Ganges and try filling the ditch. Now, during that time, he was actually able to fill the whole ditch, and he was able to make it proper so that these guys were able to live on the land. और फिर वहाँ पे उन्होंने tent बनाया, they created tent out of it, they got some donation, and then finally they were able to build 2-3 rooms where they were able to live. So that was the level of service which Bihari Das had. And that Samadhi Sthal where he used to chant and do bhajan kriya, this is the front gate of that. And this is another picture from net. Naren Prabhuji helped me with this. This is the tree. Prabhuji, I'm not sure about the story behind this Keli Kadam tree.
So this place is actually a place called Koladweep. Okay, and this is where his samadhi is, and behind the samadhi, like the gate that you see, like this is like the right side of the samadhi temple. This tree is there. Okay, and this is where he used to do his basically sadhana, under this tree. Okay. It's very auspicious to sit there and chant, is what said.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, but yes, there is some magical part associated with it, but in general, that is in short, like, that people go chant there under this tree.
And this is one another story. I mean, we'll go through quickly. So, Jagannath Das Babaji was being carried in this basket by Bihari Das, and they were crossing a forest. And in between the forest, Bihari Das came across a tiger. Now, this tiger was standing in front of him. And then Bihari Das started walking back, and then Jagannath Das Babaji asked, "What happened, Bihari?" He said, "See, I see a tiger in front of me now. I don't know what to do now." So he said, "No worries, this tiger is nothing. Like they are attendants of Mahaprabhu, so you need not worry about them." And then they started walking, and then these tigers, they followed them till the end of the forest. So, I mean, there are so many miraculous stories that it's really hard to believe how much, believe from a regular today's world. Yeah. As a guru, one incident which happened was he had some disciples. Now, these disciples came to him and they were like कि हम लोग आके जैसे जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी ध्यान लगाते हैं वैसे हम लोग भी सीधा ध्यान लगाने लग जाएंगे. And then they came here, but then Jagannath Das Babaji asked them to cultivate tulsi and vegetables for the service of the Lord. So these guys became pretty annoyed, and then they went to Bhakti Vinod Thakur saying that if you can kindly help us, because Jagannath Das Babaji is not giving us these instructions on how to start with Nirjan Bhajan. So how can we do that? And then Bhakti Vinod Thakur said, "See, there is no point in thinking about anything what your Guru has asked. You are supposed to follow exactly what he says, because he knows your condition and you are not that much elevated that you start doing Niranjan Bhajan right now. If you start doing it, you will rather become more fallen than getting elevated. So better follow the Guru." So that was one another story which I could figure it out. Yeah, this I think we already discussed. Yes. Yeah, so that was all that I could get from the net, and thanks Niren Prabhuji for helping me with the content. So we'll quickly close it saying Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Hare Ram 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 Hare. Thank you so much to everyone for listening patiently.
Thank you,
Prabhu, for sharing it.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Wonderful.
Yeah, very, very wonderful. Thank you. So, yeah, in fact, if we see, right, what he was saying as a guru, the last slide that you talked about, that is very important to understand. Like, that what like we are not qualified to imitate these people. We are not qualified to do fasting for 3 days or chant for 24 hours also. But what we can do is, like, whatever our guru has told us is what we can follow. Like, these acharyas were very merciful. I mean, like, that is the character of Vaishnava. Like, all of them were so wonderful. I mean, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati himself used to chant 128 rounds. But when he gave asked his disciples, he asked कि 64 rounds chant करो. Prabhupada gave us कि 16 rounds chant करो. Okay, and that is the minimum that I can give you. So all of them were like, and they were ready to take our karmas. They were ready to liberate us. So what Prabhupada told us is कि okay, only chant 16 rounds, follow these regulative principles. I will take you go back home, back to Godhead, and that's all. So this is something to understand, like, that whatever we are getting from the direct parampara is what we should understand and follow, rather than thinking too much about whatever is going, like, oh, that person did this kind of a thing, so let me follow it, let me imitate him. That is not going to work. Okay, and that we should not even think about. So that's what very, very important thing, and that's what Prabhupada taught us, and that's what all of these guys are teaching us. Like, yeah, they kept on making the standards more and more lighter for all of us. Yeah. Okay, just one small thing. I know we are very late. One small thing is, like, I don't know what are we hearing. I mean, like, are we hearing from? I just wanted to hear from everyone. Like, what are we hearing, and wanted to know, like, if I can help that way in any way. Like, are we hearing from specific places? From whom are we hearing for lectures?
Sorry, Prabhu, समझा नहीं मैं.
Hare Krishna.
Lectures. Yes, Madhu.
Prabhuji, I am hearing Amendra Das Prabhu's lectures, which daily or after 2 days he is uploading in his
Okay.
official channel. And apart from that, like some few Radhanath Swami Maharaj recently, like on a Kartik
Okay.
Yatra uploaded.
Okay.
Mostly
Okay.
Amendra Das Prabhuji.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Any specific choices or whatever?
No, Prabhu. I mean, I generally only attend these classes, or if there is an assignment, probably as I'm studying about Rupa Goswami. So this is only the minimum study I'm doing.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Okay. Any?
Prabhuji, I was going through this Ocean of Devotion, the app which we have, and was trying to hear about the Alvas through Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj. And recently, yes, Amren Prabhuji has started new lectures on the Kartik Mass. So I'm trying to follow that, but still not able to completely. I'm still lagging behind. I have to catch up.
Okay. But okay. Just some thing to tell you, like, how we should hear, because that is very, very important aspect. Because I know we spend time in hearing, and maybe next time also I can touch base on this. Some people have left and some are not there. Is like the basic rule to follow in general is that we hear most from Prabhupada and our Guru Maharaj. Okay, whoever we aspire from, and that is like the main staple food, like dal chawal. And we hear from others like chutney and papad. Okay, because everybody is important and they all have great knowledge to give. But see, just as we talked just some time back, is like, Prabhupada told us, oh, you do this and I will take you back, right? So there are some instructions from the Guru. Guru is ready to take our karma, but in return we have to follow his instruction. Now, how do we follow the instruction? Is by knowing about them. And if you to know about that, you have to hear from the Guru. I mean, everybody in parampara is very authentic. That's why it's said that Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, all three are very important. But the primary source of information always is Guru. Okay. So those who are, I mean, I know some we get attached to some speakers and we think, oh, they speak very nice, very great, and they are all great speakers. But at the same time, we have to keep in mind that uh, they, like, what, like Prabhupada has his own thing that he wants to give us. Okay. Or our Guru Maharaj that we aspire from has his own thing that he wants to give us. So in general, the rule is to actually understand their heart, their thing, and follow that instruction. That is the most important part. Then actually hearing stories and variety of things, the most important part is to hear from them. Now, for somebody can say that, oh, I don't have a guru in mind, that is too whatever lofty thing for me right now, I don't understand. If that is the case, then one way to do it is to hear from many sannyasis. Okay. And you see that who you think you can relate to, who actually makes the most sense to you. Okay. And then you follow it, because finding guru has always been in, at least till this time, how it has happened is like we don't follow just a bhed chal. Okay. We experiment. And as I told when we were talking about guru and disciple, is like, it's a big task on a disciple's part also to find a guru, to actually figure him out. So because otherwise you'll just, oh, either you'll not do that, or you'll actually just, okay, because they are doing it, let me also do that. I have never heard that person, I have no idea, but okay, I'll take initiation from him. Right. So that will not take us into the right thing. That's not the right thing to do. That's not what it is all about. Right. It's about like, okay, this is the person that I actually really like what he says, and I'm ready to dedicate my life for his cause. Okay. Um, am I making sense, or am I talking something very out of the world?
Yes,
Does it make
Prabhu.
sense?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhu.
So yeah, so that generally what, like, if you ask any brahmachari in ISKCON, they will tell you that, oh, they have a fixed schedule. They, out of, like, in the week, so many hours they will hear Prabhupada, and so many hours they will hear their guru. Okay, and this is that, those number of hours are too much. Okay, even after that, if they get some time, they will hear somebody else also. Like, there is a good thing happening, this, that, so they'll hear also. So that is how they do it. Now, and just a thing to put in frame, like, how it, because otherwise your, we hear from, we spend so much time, we hear so much, but we have to think that, oh, are we actually really getting elevated? And like everybody has their own way of explaining. Like Radha Maharaj has his own way, Bhakti Sahib Maharaj has his own way, and so many people, right? I mean, Indradyumna Maharaj has his own way, Loknath Swami has his own way, a variety of people, and they actually stress on different aspect of the things. Now, are we able to relate to that? Are we able to identify with that thing and make sense to us? Then that is a better way, and then we can actually, we are then steadily making progress in our bhakti. I hope I made sense, right? Or am I? My intention is not to stop you from hearing anything, anybody, but the intention is to actually be very clear that, okay, this is how we make progress, because this is the only path. Otherwise, we'll keep on hearing for years from people. Okay, we'll amass some knowledge, but it's not about getting knowledge about things. It is actually about surrendering to a guru. Oh, okay, that is the crux of the matter. Right. To be able to find the guru also, that's very important. And because guru is the one who can actually give us the right thing for us. As a spiritual master means like something, right? It means yeah, he's the one who can liberate you from here. I hope I am able to make sense. So
Prabhuji, how to have that systematic hearing? Like, that these days it's all full of preachers all around on media, and
yeah,
you open that and you get like a 10 lecture in front of you.
yeah.
Even that, in that case, because if you do chanting and then weekends, we are hearing definitely 2-3 sessions we have it.
Mm.
And on top of that, in daily routine, if we figure out that okay, this is the time I will hear 30 minutes, in that case, what should be our the way that we should take that systematic way of hearing.
Yeah. So
That we can
actually,
relate.
one way, as I said, one way is that okay, we make it a habit we'll hear at least 1 to 2 Prabhupada lectures in a week. We'll hear somebody's lecture whom we actually really aspire for, whom we really are able to relate to. Okay. Uh, and I would suggest that let them be some senior sannyasis who can actually later we can figure out that, oh, these are the people really make sense to me and I can actually take initiation from them, because then that decision of initiation will be very informed, because you have spent some time hearing them and you really know what they are. Okay, rather than just okay, everybody is taking that, so I will also take it from this person. That's what you'll end up doing that otherwise, right? So that will be a really informed decision then, and you'll actually, even before you taking that decision, you will actually have some faith, love for that person. If you don't hear Prabhupada also, if you hear Prabhupada, you'll see he's actually telling the same thing maybe again and again, but actually if you understand it, every lecture he gives some very, very deep knowledge, which is very different from any other lecture. So yeah, it is actually very elevating to hear Prabhupada, I can tell you that. So the plan should be okay, every week I should hear at least 1 to 2 Prabhupada lectures, 1 to 2 lectures of some senior sannyasis, and then yes, if I get time, I will hear from somebody else also. Okay, for general awareness, for general understanding, because okay, they're talking about a specific aspect which has not talked about anywhere else, and let me learn it. So it is about having a very systematic approach towards hearing. That's very, very important. One thing we can do, and that's what I was thinking. I mean, does it make sense? First thing, I mean, I don't know if you agree with what I'm trying to say, but basically, I'm trying to help on this aspect, because I know we spend time a lot sometimes, but we have to be very uh, systematic, because otherwise, after years, you will have learned a lot of things. As Shanpo was saying, that there's so many people speaking so many things. So you need to know are we making progress in the right direction. So one thing that I can do if you want is share some mix of lectures every week, and we can discuss them also in the group if you want.
I think, Prabhuji, that would be a wonderful idea, because when I tried going through, maybe I'm not that perfect, but when I tried going through even the Prabhupada lecture, there are so many, right? And just to get everything and try to get in sequence, probably that I was not able to get it. So I think it would be really nice if you can help us out there.
Yeah. I mean, there are lectures like Bhagavad Gita lectures from Prabhupada. I mean, it's very, very, actually, they're organized. Like even the talks that he gave to journalists and all that, they are a lot of times very amazing things he tells. I mean, in those simple language, that's extremely amazing. Plus, I mean, as I say, that I can mix it with some random set of sannyasis to hear about, uh, hear from 3, 4, or 4, 5 of them, and just see what inspires. I mean, that will actually help us go to the next level of our hearing, because I know, see, the way it is designed, the way it works is you hear from Gaur Gopal Prabhu if you're not in this. And Gaur Gopal Prabhu is an amazing person. I mean, if I tell you about his story, you'll be amazed. But the kind of things he tells will be for people who are slightly outside. Okay, even the outsider can relate to those things. It is even liked in the LinkedIn and variety of such forums, right? People who have no idea about spirituality. Then comes people who actually, once you are in, they support you, right, on variety of things, getting to know about specific topics and simple things. But at up beyond a point, we have to also hear from the authorities, the acharyas, right? We have to move our hearing towards that direction and then get fixed in that direction, because they are telling us about something very, very transcendental, not only about stories, not only about anything else, but also something very important. I mean, if you hear them, you'll realize what I'm trying to say after some time. So it is important. That's an important part of the diet. I mean, it cannot be ignored. I know silence means, does everybody thinking, what am I talking about? Why am I talking about this? Why should we bother what we hear? Why do you care? Okay, we are hearing you. That isn't it enough? And things like that.
One point, Prabhuji, from my side, and I Actually, Nidhi also has been emphasizing on this. But the only thing is, there are so many people right now. I mean, so many senior people who are talking, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, really tough to take a call
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So I am like stuck in middle somewhere. So I'm still
Yeah.
so probably, yeah. If there is a
I
way,
agree, and that's what.
out as well.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, that yes, we sometimes we don't know. I mean, like, people, if you are able to hear, that's okay, but sometimes we are not. And there are variety of people with different tone, different things they want to teach us. All of them are valid things. Okay, but what is more important out of that? Because the time is limited in our life, right? So what do we do? Uh, what I can do in general is share some lectures. Let's try this and we'll see if it works. Okay, I can share some 1 or 2 lectures, 2 3 lectures for a week, and we try to hear them. And apart from it, we can hear anything else, and we see that if they make sense to us. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Prabhuji.
Okay, but yeah, as I said, like, the principle is like we have to go to the next level of our hearing.
Absolutely.
All right, Mataji's are quite any comments because I hear only Prabhuji's. I mean, is it okay?
Like, because as of now, my situation is like I want to know more things, right? So why I'm like following the Amendra Das Prabhu's series, because he's having the like number of series on a some particular topic, like
Yeah.
it's a Jagannath
Yes.
Yatra, or it's a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or it's a Prabhupada. Like he has a very good series, right? So it's like
Yeah.
give a related information on at a one time. Okay, I started one series in a 5 or 6 see, like in the lecture, I will get suppose like a good knowledge on that part, or it's a Radha Ashtami or something. Whatever the like, he will take the subject and he will give the that number of series of that lecture and all those things.
I I,
I'm
I
following
agree,
in
Mataji.
that way. I'm following in that way. Like I started one thing and I go through all the 5 lecture and I feel like yeah, I have some knowledge now. We should do like this or we should not do like this.
Yeah.
That's why like, I follow him because and the way he speaks, of course, everybody knows like it's a like practical way he speaks. So that's the
Yeah.
point. Right?
I agree, Mataji. I mean, so Amrit Prabhu is amazing storyteller and very amazing devotee also. Uh, uh, I know people who personally associate with him and things. So one thing to understand, like in a see, there are these details which we need to know about, but there are sometimes more things also. As in, like the bottom line of this, as I said, right, the is about sarve vidhi nishedaya etayor eva kinkara. Like, there are details, but there is a main philosophy also, like why we have to do this, but why do we do this? Okay, that actually takes us to the next level of our doing things also. The same, now we'll celebrate Diwali next week, but the same Deepavali we can celebrate with a different consciousness if we know what is happening. Why, by the way, Dashera and Diwali, right? Dashera is like he killed the Ravana, but Diwali is like, and these are stories. We can keep talking about these stories, right? Diwali, oh, Rama comes back. Why is Diwali important? Why people celebrate Diwali with so opulence? Why not Dashera that way? Even though that looks like a bigger festival in terms of story, right? But we have to understand, if you think about the crux of the matter, the crux is that Dashera is almost like you are taking away your anarthas, okay, removing your impurities. And Diwali is like inviting Lord to your house. Okay, Lord himself comes home. So what is more important? I mean, so getting, so I'm saying like this something, this particular thought is very difficult to get from a story. You can hear the story of both, but not realize that, okay, why should I invite Lord? What is important? Is it really important? And that is the reason, by the way, why Diwali is celebrated so opulently, which people don't realize. I understand what you're saying, but and you can keep hearing from him. I'm not even saying that you don't hear from him. All I'm saying is that we have to actually also add Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj into the hearing. Okay, because they will be the one who will tell us the tattva behind it. Okay, the reason behind it, why we have to do something, why we have to do it. That's all what it is. Because stories are there, but beyond that there is something, the reality, like what we are talking right now, that we are a soul, that is the reality. But am I making sense, Mataji?
Yeah,
Just
Prabhuji.
adding them.
Prabhuji,
Yeah,
only
it'll,
if we will get a like a flow, maybe you can share with us like Prabhupada series and all those things. If we will get a flow, then definitely we'll get that type of interest also in the actual thing we get to know. Nowadays,
yeah,
as of now, our situation is like we mostly like the stories, series, and all those things. And what you are telling, that makes sense. So maybe you can help us on this also.
yeah, sure, Mataji, I'll share. I mean, in general, I mean, you will see that there are these people like these sannyasis, these people, they also tell stories. Now, Prabhupada also tells stories, but every story they talk about the substance also. Okay, and the focus sometimes is more on the substance. If you hear, I mean, I have heard from so many, I can, my thoughts will always go into Radhanath Swami, and basically when he talks about it, he actually brings the emotion out in that story, and you can actually feel that story, not and leave that story, no matter how many times it is heard uh, in variety of lectures. So the same story always becomes live. So I don't know. I mean, like, all I'm saying is like it is important to add them so that we go to the next level of hearing. Otherwise, we'll get stuck uh, on the details, and they're unlimited details. Really, I'm telling you, like the shastras have so many details that we'll keep on dealing with them without. And the essence is not to do it in one way, like that, oh, we have to celebrate it like this, we have to do it like this. No, it's not karmkand. It's about actually bhakti, where we have to actually really develop that love, and that cannot be developed only by following certain procedures. Okay, by following certain, reading certain astakams. It can only be developed by the purification and by the mercy of Guru, and by realizing the substance. Otherwise there is no other way. These are important. These astakams are important. These procedures are important, because when they are important, when we know the substance, then we actually follow them with a different uh, emotion. Okay, and these are there to take out our emotion, that how do we decorate the Lord, how beautifully we actually do the Damodar Astakam, all of that, because we know the substance. The more we know the substance, these things keep on becoming more and more beautiful. Uh, Otherwise, it is just a procedure. So, yeah, Matai, sorry if I'm debating from this, but I hope this point is clear. Let me know offline also if anybody thinks that. So all I'm saying is like, yes, we can hear from anybody, but also we should also make sure that we hear from Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj, or any senior sannyasis also should be heard, so that we get into the right direction. And yeah, so many examples I gave, but those are my personal examples. You can ignore them also, procedure or non-procedure and things like that. But in short, that actually elevates us in our hearing that much. And
I would say, Prabhuji, yeah, that's a good idea, because getting a weekly dose, that at least minimum, we will also have a uh, right
yeah,
things to follow, because right now when random things are coming up, you just click something and then just look at
yeah,
that, but there is no set things. And as you were talking about, I heard His Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj on this Kartik Yatra for 5 days lecture on Vrindavan Tattva and all, very very systematic, he was talking about. And the feeling was altogether different. I never have heard about those points in the past. But overall, like, people like us, a minimum dose is coming every week, that would at least set our target, that at least if we can hear these couple of things, we will do the progress, and we can discuss on those points in this group. So kind of that would be great, actually, I would say.
I'll share some lectures. I mean, let's try it out. And I'm not saying that we don't hear from whoever we are hearing. We can continue to do that. Just that, because this is a very very important part. Like, because that defines us, how what we are hearing. That really starts defining us, right? So, okay, I'm not saying that anybody is non-authentic. Everybody is very very authentic, but this is the thing which is followed throughout. Is all I'm saying. Okay, this is a universal thing. That, yeah. Okay.
Great.
All right, thank you. Sorry if I've taken more time. I hope it made sense. If it didn't, ping me and we can discuss. All right. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Are we reciting shloka today?